Welcome back to this week's segment of Dialogue Houston. You've been with us for the first part of the show. You're going to have a fascinating conversation about small business development and a wonderful program that HCC's Corporate College has put together in conjunction with the chambers, the minority chambers, and we're going to scratch that word from our vocabulary going forward, the new unempowered majority chambers in conjunction with the Small Business Administration, who we're going to hear from a little later. Right now we're going to look at the actual program that we're talking about to help small businesses grow, develop, give them the new skill sets they need to take it to the next level, to take their whole business plan and market share to the next level, et cetera. And joining me to do this is Victor Alvarez, who's a corporate trainer with HCC's Corporate College, also working with Southeast College and putting together their program, and has been around in this area for a long time and currently working with the chamber to make this happen. Welcome, Victor.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. So tell us exactly how this program works. It's a 9-week program.
It's a 9-week program.
We cover a whole lot of stuff in that 9 weeks.
Absolutely. There is 3 areas that we cover in the business. The first one is for startups. Startups, it starts with the registration. We're going to make sure that they are known by the county, that the state controller's office, they know about it, that the IRS knows about it. So it starts with the registration. From there, we go to the other group of business owners, is for growth. When the business is already performing, they want to grow, and it's through the basis of duplication. We're going to duplicate what they are doing well so they can grow. That will be either through franchises or expansion. And the other one is how to prevent that they lose the business. And that's when we offer solutions to prevent losing the business. So it's the startups, it's the growth process, and also preventing losing the business.
Let's take each one of them individually.
Good.
In the setup process,
yes,
I was, and I know this to be true because something you said just kind of struck me. We wanted them to register to be known across the county and the city. A lot of them are flying under the radar screen.
That is correct.
And is that for a reason, or they just have not got around to formally, officially doing it, or what?
There is 2 reasons. One is they are unaware of the process, and the other reason is they are doing it because of fear. And
that's really what I was getting at.
Yes, and it affects them tremendously because they are not known. And when they are not known, they don't have the opportunities to find vendors, clients, to create the alliances that are actually needed.
Do some because of fear factor, and I spent a lot of time working in the Gulfton area. That's why I know this question to be true. I worked with a charter school that we started here, Cerninos. Is a lot of them just basically open up a door, get some business cards printed, get the guy to come put the stuff in the writing on the glass wall, and they're in business?
Yes.
And a lot of them provide good services. It's not a question if they don't do a good business, good service.
Yes.
But they're really there operating, quote unquote, under the guise of being a business. They're really not a business.
Officially, they are not in business. Officially, what I mean is they don't have a DBA. When they don't have a DBA, they cannot open a business account. If they don't have a business account, then they cannot make the actual deductions.
So you're never going to grow. You're never going to have a chance unless you do it right to really have that growth factor.
That is correct. It's like in the education. You can come to the classes, but if you don't register, you are not known. So you will not actually get a certificate.
And once they find out that once they do all the proper registration and paperwork, and it actually helps them, because there are many things available to them that are not available if they're not.
I can give you an example. When they register with the state controller's office, now they have a sales number. So they will have access to tremendous warehouses, to wholesalers. They will have a tremendous opportunity for growth.
So it's really an educational process.
Yes, it is.
And the fear piece I know is there, and I'm really glad we were able to touch on that. Okay, so that's the first phase.
Yes.
Second phase are those who are really looking to grow their business.
Yes. They do have 1 or 2 establishments, and they are ready for growth, but they don't know how. And so we teach them how to do an operation manual, an employee's handbook, and to duplicate the process that they are doing effectively that has kept them in business, and they have the opportunity for growth. One of them will be becoming a franchisor, or another one creating satellites offices at different locations.
And you look around now as you just drive around, and I always reference the Gulfton area only because I spend enough time there. There are so many small businesses that have popped up. It is amazing. That corridor from Bel Air, from where it starts off from the Hispanic side and goes farther out Bel Air to where it becomes Asian. In that corridor, just from there, there must be thousands and thousands, literally thousands of small businesses.
Yes, it's booming. Businesses are booming. However, the possibility that they're going to be successful it is based, again, if they follow the process of the registration. That way they can actually negotiate a good rental lease. They will have the opportunity, and that's what we do, train them also in understanding what percentage should go for the rental based on the expected sales.
So because you're doing it through the chamber, and the chamber is looking after providing the service to its members, and since its member businesses are all at certain different levels, it's almost like having students in a one-room classroom.
That is correct.
You have them at so many different levels, but each getting what they need from the different segments, I'm sure.
And the Houston Community College has created a program that tailor when the Chamber of Commerce members come to the classes. We're going to make sure that everyone receive what they need, and it is based on the attendance.
It's a great collaboration. Great collaboration that the Houston Community College has done.
Yes.
All right, take us to the third group.
The third one is when they are in trouble, when the business is in trouble. Either they didn't forecast properly, they are undercapitalized, or many times they are not maximizing the resources. So what we do, we analyze their strengths, and we identified what can actually save. And many other times we found out that actually they are not utilizing all the resources.
Right. You know, the thing I'm always amazed at people who, and like I said, that we all have friends who've got this passion to start their own business, their own small business. And a lot of people think once they got the business plan done, and they write a great business plan, they get it looked over by professionals and help them put it together, they're done. And that's it. I mean, I'm ready to go. I've got a great business plan. It's been approved, and people have bought off on it. But it's much more than that. What about the marketing plan? What about all the other things that go with it?
Yes.
And that's where I think we come in to help them with the skills and the education.
There is the awareness. It's not only just to have a business plan. It's to understand how to select the right people to work with. It's to select the right target market. It's to understand how to manage the numbers properly. It is more than that. And the passion is required to start up. But then we need to get the discipline and the control in order to keep the business running.
You said something I thought was very important about getting the right people hired and then keeping the right people.
Absolutely. That is the reason why for the Employees Handbook.
Yeah, the recruiting and retention piece within a small business is huge. Not only the trust factor, obviously those who will be handling the cash register and all that stuff, but I've found so many times that's one of the biggest challenges is recruiting good people, training good people, and keeping good people.
Yes.
And they don't put enough time in that because they're so busy doing, and you got to train your people.
Well, they are doing the business, but in reality, in order to keep the business, it has to be duplicated with the right people. And we teach them how to select the people. One is find the leaders and then find the followers, and the people that are productive in certain areas, and the other one that can be taking the leadership, moving the business to the front. Yeah,
because you know, you go to so many small businesses, and the attitude of that person you encounter behind the counter automatically turns you off. And you know, for many people, you don't get a second chance. And a lot of small business owners don't realize how important that person is to their business.
Yes, and we also explained the fact that the issues with the family hiring. Yes, it is good to start with the family, but then we need to understand that's the reason why we actually invite them to come to Houston Community College, and how they can expand and also help the family members.
Yes. Because many times the family members have good intention, they don't have the skill set though. Either.
Many times.
And because they're family, you overlook their flaws, if you will. And I think it's interesting that you said that. It's a transition. I think family is a great group to help you get started. It may not be the group you need in the middle or even long term.
Yes.
And I think it's important to have a third party be able to point that out to them.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes when you're so close to something, you can't really see it. When the business are failing, or not being as successful as one would like, there are really some things that trigger that and are very clear indicators of what needs to be done, are there not?
Yes, it's the self-analysis of the ownership, and it's generally based on the owner. The owner is seeing the market or seeing the business in a certain direction, and the market has different expectations. Or the market has shifted, and they are not aware of it. And one of the recommendations that we give them is the self-analysis. It's a very hard thing to do. It is very hard. But that's the only thing that it will keep the business running.
Very hard, and for many of them, very stubbornly hard for them to do. But sometimes small business owners are their worst enemy because they can't see. They won't make that change and correction. They believe so strongly in what they have put together and the way they've laid it out in their vision, somewhat tunnel vision sometimes. And that's it.
Yes, and the only time that they will actually take the advice is when they want to prevent the business to get lost.
Right, right.
And that is the specific time when the ACC is coming on board and telling, let's do the auto analysis in order to keep the business running.
And I think it's important because everything is changing.
Yes, it is.
People's perspective of what they need and how they see services, goods and services, all that's changing. Their customer is changing. And the customer is changing greatly. And expectations of the customer, I think, is changing also with everything else that's happening. What would be, and we're going to have to get out of here in a second, what would be your number one advice to someone thinking about starting a small business who have no experience? Where do they go? What's the first step?
The first step is do the analysis of the market.
Okay.
There are 20 sectors of the industries in the United States. 10 sectors are very, very strong in the city of Houston. Out of the 10, identified where they would like to start, and the Houston Community College can guide them.
Okay, and that's a great advice, because I think a lot of people, particularly in this downturn economy and market, have been looking at starting a business again with the layoffs, tremendous layoffs. I know people who have actually started their small business who were in this last year of the layoff cycle and the recession here in Houston. So it really is a great opportunity. Small businesses that I know who have got into it, they love it. It's a hard work, it's a lot of hours, but they love it. So, and it's not for everyone though.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
I would say yes because the opportunities are there.
Right.
No, they don't come to the Houston Community College and take the training.
That's a good plug. That was a good. But you got to know what you're doing.
Yes.
Passion alone is not going to be enough.
The passion is only a half of it.
Okay, and the long hours of work that you have to put in are amazing, and people sometimes don't want to do that.
Energy, time, and money is required.
Energy, time, and money. That's a good segue. All right, I want to thank you, Victor, for being on. We appreciate it very much. We'll be talking more about small businesses as the year goes on. We're going to take a small pause and break, and when we come back for the third segment, we're going to be joined by Eric Lyons, who's the president of the Houston Citizen Chamber of Commerce, who is about to get into the program that Victor has already been doing with the Hispanic Chamber. And we're going to look at how this collaboration as we go forward in this world of change is going to be so important. You know, I'm looking for this great new collaboration of this new Hispanic and African American business that's going to come together after they understand the processes better, because it really is. The opportunity is there, and the city with its demographic changes is probably ripe for that kind of business where we have that partnership of both communities working together. So we're going to explore all of that when we return, so we'll be right back. Please join us.